Good morning, afternoon, and evening, everyone. Welcome to FPL Wire Extra Time, powered by DreamSetGo and Fantasy Football Scout. We're going to be reviewing Gameweek 27 matches. I'm your host, Zofa, and I'm joined by my friend, Big Man Bucket. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. I played my free hit this week. Like most FPL managers, I feel a bit underwhelmed by how it has gone. Some certain things went well, certain things did not go as well. What are your thoughts on it, Zoff?
I think the opportunities were there. Some matches went as expected, but let's, instead of talking about our scores, let's jump into the matches. We'll try to keep this
Sure.
video short. First up, Southampton Norwich. What did you think of this one?
I watched this game and Southampton were totally in control. They should have won by more goals, to be honest. The main interest from the FPL perspective was, around Broha, Ward-Prowse, and their defense. And I think they look reasonably solid. I think Norwich are done. I think they'll keep petering out slowly with such performances. They just don't have the quality going forward. Even in this game, they did not have any clear-cut opportunities to score an XG of just zero point 0.4, while Southampton were much more potent going forward. Broha wasn't really on it, but despite that, he could have had an assist, had Elianusi created a very good opportunity. But other than that, yeah, it went as expected.
Yes, spot on. 2.96 XG for Southampton. And what was interesting was Adams accounted for 1.31 of that XG. Broja only 0.17. Kyle Walker-Peters caught the eye. 3 shots and 2 chances created. And it looks like the fullbacks are going to be rotated a bit. But his versatility is very useful that he can play on either side. So if I was looking to wildcard now, I'd probably bring him in over either Saints defender. What did you think?
Yeah, I think he looked really good going forward, and he was actually unfortunate not to have scored. He had a shot from inside the box. He hit it straight at gun either side of the keeper, and that was going in. And so was the case of Livermento. He could have had an assist for the goal that Adam scored as well. I mean, Adams fluffed the first opportunity. Had he taken it, it would have been a Livermento assist. So the Saints fullbacks look really good.
And another player that caught the eye, Stuart Armstrong. 7 shots and 4 chances created. I know Ward-Prowse also created 2, but I think Armstrong is also worth a look.
Yeah, for sure. Elianusi's also been posting some good stats of late, off.
Tell me about them.
Even in this match, he had a big chance to score, and before this game, he had like three goals in his previous 2 appearances. So he has been getting the chances to score. I remember watching the game against Spurs, and he had 2 big chances to score over there as well.
Yeah, they're in red hot form, and I think ahead of the double, we might have to prioritize them over a team we're going to talk about soon, Leeds. Why don't you talk us through Spurs Leeds?
I watched the whole game, and I felt sorry for Leeds and Bielsa. To be honest, I just think it went to the point where he had no clue how to sort their defensive frailties out. They were very obliging. In fact, Spurs racked up the highest number of big chances in the game week. Son and Kane, as usual, were involved. I was actually surprised not to see them being involved in the first 2 goals, because they have had an involvement in 80% of Spurs' goals this season. So it was a bit of a surprise, but I think both of them look in red hot form, and I think ahead of their double in 29, even if they have a single game week this week, they're good options to hold. And even if you're bench boosting, they're great options to bench boost against Everton.
Let's talk about Leeds first. Rafinha had 6 chances created, 3 shots, but the news is coming that they're most likely parting ways with Bielsa. Now it's a tricky period going into we really don't know what Leeds are going to look like. Should we prioritize players from Southampton maybe over players against Leeds or players from Leeds?
I don't think necessarily their attack is an issue. I've been watching them in recent games, and they do look like scoring. They do carry that threat. Even in the game yesterday, Rafinha, he has that bit of quality. He could have had an assist easily. He hit the bar, a crossbar from a free kick. So it's not as if he isn't getting the chance. He's still looking threatening going forward, and at 6.5 odd million and on penalties, I don't think owning him is a problem. I think he's a good buy if you don't have him this week.
I agree. I'd still look to get it, Rafinha. I think whichever manner, whoever comes in, is definitely going to play a big role. Some quick stats from the game: 4 shots for Son, 2 shots for Kane, 2.08 xG overall for Spurs, out of which Son was top for xG 0.69. I think he really deserved more than 1 goal from yesterday.
Yeah, for sure.
Like Palace Burnley. Did Did you catch any highlights from this?
I was actually streaming this game as well. I was watching it concurrently with the United fixture. Um, this was a bit of a evenly contested game. There weren't any clear cut chances at either end. There was just this one chance for Schlupp and he scored, and even that chance was, he was marginally onside. I think Burnley were fairly solid throughout, and they could have easily walked away with the clean sheet from this one. Their defense is still performing well. I don't think Dyche will tinker with his defenders in the upcoming fixture against Leicester. However, I did think that their attack was a bit toothless going forward. They had just the two shots inside the box, and both came from set pieces. One was from Tarkowski, and the other was actually a very good chance for Weghorst, which was saved by Butland. But other than that, they looked a bit toothless. But I'm hoping that the Leicester defense is obliging. They've conceded like the second highest number of big chances in the past 6 matches. So hopefully Burnley will have a bit of a go at them at home, and I'm hoping for some Weghorst returns as a Weghorst captain.
Yes, low XG game, like you said, 0.9 XG for Palace and only 0.26 for Burnley. Olise caught the eye. He took 4 shots. Zaha played as a centre forward. He also took 3 shots. But in general, Burnley kept them pretty quiet.
Yeah.
Right. United, Watford. You watched this one. Tell me about it.
It was a painful watch as a Bruno Fernandes owner. He had 3 big chance involvements, 8 shots, 4 of them were inside the box. And according to the XG model, he was the biggest underperformer of the game week according to the XGI. He had an XGI of over 1. So he really should have had returns. He fluffed a few chances. One was saved by Foster. So I mean, in the first 20 games, United could have been out of sight. They were totally dominant all over Watford. But it was just down to lazy finishing from Fernandes and Ronaldo, and that was basically it. In the second half, they really didn't create much, and the game sort of petered out.
I think their assets are almost a hard sell now. Ahead of the next few fixtures, City and Spurs in the next 3.
For sure, Liverpool as well. I think
Liverpool as well.
Yeah, Liverpool as well.
2.66 XG for United, 0.7 for Watford, who I thought looked threatening at times. King, not so much, but I thought Dennis offered a few he made the wrong decision, left or right. He could have gone, but I thought Dennis.
Dennis looked good from the eye test. He looked good from the eye test, but then again, I'm not sure whether I'd hold him. I still think that Broja in that price bracket is a better option.
I think Broja gets rotated. He's not looked as sharp. I think the next few matches they have a lot of games coming. I think he will. My personal guess is he'll play only 1 game in the double. But that's a pure assumption.
Could happen. Yeah, could happen. Yeah, he had a poor game. Yeah, I won't be too surprised.
Somebody else who stood out, Alex Telles, looked good at left back. 4 chances created to call.
Brunel went for him this week in his free hit team, so he deserves some points. He was actually very marginally close to getting a assist for Ronaldo, who was just a bit offside. But other than that, he looked really good. He was on corners as well, and he. We know this with fullbacks, those who take set pieces, they create, more chances. So that helps them in their bonus accumulation. So this is just something to note going forward.
Brentford, Newcastle won 2-0 with 2.24 XG to just 0.49 for Brentford. Obviously, the red card changed things, but a lot of points now for Newcastle. Any of their players are interesting you based on this? They have 2 doubles now, back to back.
So far, I have Dubravka in my team, and I'm actually very, very happy with that choice that I made on Wildcard, because Newcastle's defensive numbers since January have really gone up. They've been brilliant. Usually, when we talk about Newcastle, they're in the bottom 3 or 4 for underlines. They're actually in the top 5 for XG conceded per game since January. So they're doing really, really well. I think that. I'd be more keen to look at one of their defenders or keeper. Keeper, I think, is the one to go for, because Dubravka also has the potential to make saves and can get bonus. Newcastle's defense don't really have a high passing completion, so it's a bit like Burnley, where Dubravka can rack up those big scores. But going forward, I'm not exactly sure who the main guy to get is, but Joe Willock is looking good.
I know you know who you want to get, Bakar. I'll just read out some stats to get you excited.
He hasn't scored a goal since I don't know when. I don't know, since forever, I think. So
just these numbers, right? Now he took 4 shots and he was top for XG, Bakar. 0.55. You know
you're getting. He needs to score a goal first before I can consider getting him in.
But I do think he's not a bad shout, right? Because Newcastle just an upturn in form. We are seeing so much. I think the only reason we probably put off investing more is probably game week 30. Otherwise, the likes of Willock and Fraser would could possibly be on our radar for the next two.
No, there's also the fact that game week the game week 29 double isn't the easiest. It's very hard. It's against Chelsea
Chelsea
and,
and
and
somebody
Everton.
else.
So
Yeah.
Chelsea and Everton. So it's not the easiest of fixtures. And as you said, the game week 30 blank. So I personally won't be going there.
Yep. And just we need to reorient their thinking as a very easy fixture. I don't think they're an easy fixture or
No,
fixture
I think
to target.
they're also creating chances. So I'm not really sure they're a banker for clean sheets
sheets
as
either.
well. Yeah, exactly.
Right. Brighton Villa, again another low XG game, 0.63 XG for Brighton, 1.37 for Villa. McGinn was actually top for XG 0.73. And what was interesting is Watkins started alongside Ings. Did you catch any of this?
Yeah. Yeah, I saw the highlights. I saw the highlights. Coutinho and Dean in particular were quiet, which was a bit worrying. I with this two up top formation, do you think it's going to affect Coutinho in the future as well?
I think so. I've got some numbers. Coutinho, this game, his XG was just 0.09. And over the last 4 matches, his expected goal involvement is just 0.71. That's really, really poor. And earlier, I was even looking at him as a possible captaincy shout for this week purely because of the Leeds fixture. But if Leeds are going to change manager, I don't know we don't know what Leeds are going to be like a week from now if they part ways with Bielsa. But more than Coutinho, I like the look of Ramsey. He had one really nice dribble which he could have scored from. He's still looking like a good option. I think you still have Ramsey, right?
Yeah, I have both Coutinho and Ramsey. And another thing to notice was that Villa's defensive stats had really dropped off in recent times, and they were very poor defensively. But in this game, they conceded just the one big chance, and an XG conceded of around 0.6. So they were much better defensively.
On some post-game comments from Gerrard, he said now he spoke to his strikers before this game and he said he wants goals and he wants to put both of them on the pitch. So I think it's something we're going to be seeing more often. So Watkins also possibly an option with so many forwards not firing.
Sure.
Right. Let's move on to the last one. Everton City. Tell me about this.
Someone who loaded up on Mahrez and Sterling, this game didn't really go exactly according to plan, did it? I mean, I was actually very surprised to see the fight from Everton. I was expecting a reaction from City after having lost the Spurs, and they had a week's rest, so I was fully expecting a drubbing. I was very surprised to see the heart and passion they showed in the game, and they could have nicked a result. I mean, it was just from an unforced error at the end that Foden managed to score. In this game, I mean, from a statistical point of view, Foden stood out. He had two big chances. De Bruyne created one of them. Sterling had no shots. He was very quiet. Mahrez barely had a touch once he came on. So that was basically it. They looked solid defensively, and they richly deserved their clean sheet.
They had only 8 shots in the box, Man City. A lot of shots from outside. I thought Lampard did a good job of organizing Everton. But that being said, clear penalty. In my opinion, at the end, Everton were absolutely robbed. I thought that was a very, very clear handball.
Yeah, that should have been a penalty at the end. I agree.
I think Cancelo again looked good. The defense looked good, but the attack just looks to be a bit of a minefield still going forward.
Yeah, that's the thing. We don't really know who the talisman is. It's becoming near on impossible to predict who's going to get the biggest piece of the pie week in, week out. It's very random.
Right. That's it, Bakar. Let's wrap up. I think we did it under 15 minutes. Good job. Any last words?
No. Last words. Hoping for more points from Burnley in the week.
Let's hope so. See you guys soon. Thank you.
Take care, guys.